The next step is to build out our views. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate our password view. This was the view that allowed users to update their password. And I've chosen this view because it's most similar to what we need. It has just the couple fields that we need, the 2 new password fields. So I'm going to call this one v_reset pw for password. And let's go ahead and make some changes here. And this should be pretty straightforward. That's good. Let's add a paragraph tag here. And just add a little bit of text here to indicate to the user what they need to do on this page. Okay, and then this one is going to be email, text, and then down below the form we don't need this because this form will be available to anyone even if they're not logged in. So I'm going to delete all except for one link, and I'm going to have that be the login link. Like so. And I believe that's the basics for this, so I'm going to duplicate it one more time. And I'm going to call this one v_reset_pw2. And this first view, this will be the view for a user who's trying to reset their password initially. And then the second view is going to be what they see once they click the link within their email and they'll get sent to this page. Oh, excuse me. So let's go back to this page. We don't actually need any of this. We just need the email on this page. So that should fix it. And then let's go here and let's just change the terminology slightly. And I believe we're good to go on this. So I've gone ahead and saved it. Our views are completed. And now let's go ahead, I'm going to duplicate the changed password because again it will be able to use a lot of the same code. So duplicate that and I'm going to call it resetpassword.php. Changing the header details here. And this particular page is going to be accessible to anyone even if they're not logged in, so I can go ahead and delete this section which checks to make sure that the user is logged in. And let's start off here by updating the form defaults. Alert is fine. We want this to be email and this to be email. So the way this form is going to work is initially when a visitor visits this page, they're going to be presented with a form that only has one field in it, the email form. And then after they submit that form, it's going to send the user an email and they'll click a link within the email and it's going to redirect them back to this page, with the exception that there's going to be a string of characters in the URL, which indicates that the password needs to be reset. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to split this up into two sections. I'm going to do if is set, and I'm going to check for the existence of a variable called key in the URL. So if this key exists, we're going to know that the user is entering a new password. Otherwise, we know that they're requesting a new password. Okay, so I'm going to leave this section alone for a little bit. We're going to borrow code here and there from it. But let's start first by working on the else section when the user first visits this page. So we're going to want to split this up again into two sections and check if the form has been submitted or not. Actually, I can just copy and paste. And if it has been submitted, we want to process the form. And if it has not been submitted yet, we want to show the form. We'll do that as usual with an include. Like so. Okay, so within this section, a lot of the code we can basically reuse. So let's go ahead, I'm going to just copy this section to start with. And the first thing I'm going to do while processing this form is I'm going to get the input. And we can grab this section, I suppose. And we want to make sure that the email field has been filled in. So if not, we want to make sure, I guess I don't need this here. There we go. So we want to set an error message saying the email is required and asking the user to please fill in all the required fields. And the second thing we want to check is along the lines of what we did with the register.php page. We want to make sure that the email is in a valid format. And like I talked about earlier, we use a preg match for that to make sure it matches the correct format. And if not, we're basically just going to copy and paste this code here. I guess we can delete this. We'll just show an alert message and say, or excuse me, we're actually going to do the opposite. We'll leave the alert message alone and we'll change the email. And rather than saying required, we're going to say please enter a valid email.